Hey guys, Dave from Nerdarchy, 4 Nerds by Nerds, hanging out with.
Nerdarchy Ted.
Today in this character build, we do the Cantrip controller.
Jump down in the description below where you can sign up for Nerdarchy, the newsletter, get weekly gaming tips, as well as learn how to game with Nerdarchy.
Alright guys, bear with us. This might get a little ridiculous.
Okay, so if you happen to see our video earlier this week or last, depending, we did a video on the controlling cantrips, because there's a lot of awesome cantrip spells out there, and I don't think people are using them the way they're supposed to.
Well, I don't know if they're using the way they're supposed to, but you can get a lot more. You can get a lot more bang for your buck.
All right, we'll look at it that way.
So we want to do a controller cantrip character build. Basically, this character is about having cantrips and about using them in different ways and mixing it up and controlling the battlefield with a 0-level spell. You can do at will. Like, we're not even going to discuss all the other things that they could potentially be doing, because those options aren't off the table. They still have them.
Right. So regardless of what you do with your higher level spell slots, we're looking at just cantrips. All right, so speaking of cantrips, there are a few specific or class-specific cantrips that we want to be able to highlight, in this mix. So we have Thorn Whip from Druid, Vicious Mockery from Bard, and Eldritch Blast from Warlock.
Yes.
The rest of the stuff is going to pretty much fall into the Wizard Sorcerer line.
So they're easy to get.
So what ways do we have of getting cantrips from alternate classes?
Well, there's actually several ways. There's a couple feats that'll do it for you. There's multi-classing. There's class features that can actually do it as well.
So if you take Pact of the Tome and Warlock, you've got the ability to select stuff from other places. Does a Lore Bard allow you to get cantrips, or is it only spells?
Well, actually, a Lore Bard would let you do cantrips. It's whatever you want to take.
But would you really want to take a cantrip versus an actual higher level spell?
Right.
So it's a decision.
And not only that, you would have to go through quite a few of the levels to get the extra choices that we're looking for.
Okay.
And we are being very specific because we want to be able to do a lot of cool things with our cantrips.
All right. So we've got Magic Initiate that's going to grab you 2 from a single spell list, and you have Spell Sniper that's going to give you 1.
So yeah, you could do that first level with Human. You'd get the bonus feat. You could take either one of those. That'll work. Even if you just went Warlock, let's say, right?
All right, so
we go Human.
We go Warlock, and we go Pact of the Tome once we get to 3rd level, and we go Human, and let's say Magic Initiate. So Magic Initiate's going to limit us to a specific class, but Pact of the Tome is going to allow me to get them anywhere.
Right off the bat, as a Human, you can start off with Magic Initiate. Now, the important thing here is you're going to want to pick a Charisma caster. We're a Warlock. We're using Charisma. So we're going to get 2 of our cantrips from there. So we're probably going to want to go Sorcerer, because that's going to give us the biggest selection. We're going to grab 2 of them up early.
Right. And if you saw the other video, we have a whole list. I think
we can actually just run through the list real quick, just in total. So Shocking Grasp, Ray of Frost, Vicious Mockery, Frostbite, Chill Touch, Thorn Whip, Booming Blade, Lightning Lure, Gust, Green Flame Blade, Eldritch Blast, Sword Burst, Thunderclap, Acid Splash. Most of these are on the Sorcerer's list. Not all, so we just picked 2 of them that are. For our Warlock, we're definitely taking Eldritch Blast.
Absolutely.
We get 1 more.
So you could grab one of the others, not as important, and then once you get
you would probably be taking Chill Touch, because I think that's the other one that is actually on the Warlock's list.
Right. And then once you actually get to 3rd level, this is where you go Pact of the Tome, and this is where you're going to be able to grab those critical spells or cantrips that you can't just grab from anywhere unless you're looking to take levels in Bard or in Druid.
So these are the ones that I would actually probably choose: Vicious Mockery, Thorn Whip, and Frostbite.
Yes, this is the easiest way to get those ones that are going to pad out your list. Now, Frostbite and Vicious Mockery, mechanically, other than damage type, they're the same. So unless you care about whether you're doing psychic or cold, it's not that big a deal on the effect.
I
But
would beg to differ. I mean, they're different saving throws.
well, that's true.
So you get to talk, So this could be important depending on the scenario you have in front of you, whether you want them to make a con save or whether you want them to make a will save. I believe. So that would be the difference, and the damage type changes it up. So if you have a creature that's vulnerable to cold, frostbite's going to make sense, and psychic damage. A lot of things are not vulnerable to.
Like those raging barbarians.
Yeah, I mean resistant to is what I should actually say. Yeah, you got raging barbarians you need to deal with. This is the one you might want to use.
So both very valid points on that. So we're only 3rd level, and we've already knocked out
7?
7 of our list. That's literally half of what we have going on.
We could just stop and go home now.
Not too bad, but can we do more?
I think we can.
All right, so we've got 17 levels to play with, and we've talked about that the bulk of the things on this list is going to be on Sorcerer. And we're already a high charisma character. Can we just go Sorcerer?
I think so.
So what that's going to wind up doing...
Oh, we should backtrack, though. We did get 2 invocations from being a warlock. So we should explain how we're going to make our Eldritch Blast into a control effect.
So Eldritch Blast normally just does the die 10 force damage per. Well, if you take Agonizing Blast, that's gonna bump your Charisma modifier to the damage on that, as well as you're going to
Repelling Blast.
Take Repelling Blast, which is going to add a push effect.
Now, if we were using Unearthed Arcana stuff, there would be even more options. But since we're just using the player's handbook and printed material that's out and official,
right,
we're not going to touch that.
Right. So, all right, that covers Warlock, 17 levels of Sorcerer. That gives us quite a load of stuff. First and foremost, 6 cantrips off of the Sorcerer list.
Yes, and also too, it's worth noting, we mentioned several cantrips that are control cantrips that we're going to throw out. We're not even going to touch them.
We're not looking at Booming Blade or Green Flame Blade. That while they are controlling type effects, they're not going to fit well with this particular character build. They're useful for Eldritch Knights and people who are going to go into melee. Not so good for the guy who's going to stand back and go pew pew pew.
Yeah, definitely that's true. So Sorcerer, we want all those sorcery points because we're going to use them for different things.
Now you could, go this route and use those sorcery points for, layering your actual spells that require spell slots. Or you could totally turn all of those things into this churning engine of souping up and doing so much more with your actual cantrips. And since cantrips tend to scale with the level, you have the ability to do what other things can't. So if we use Quicken and cast a cantrip as a bonus action, that allows us to use our standard action to then cast another one.
Well, or just cast a spell. And that's the beauty of it. You can be layering control spells and using your cantrips and using them more effectively as well. When you're layering your cantrips and your spells together, you're going to have to be choosy about how you do it, right? I'm not so sure I would quicken and use 2 cantrips, but I would quicken quicken my spell and then use a meta magic to then use a meta magic that on the cantrip I'm then going to be able to cast. Whether you want to use distant or empower or whatever, but it does allow you to get more bang for your buck each round.
Right. Now, you do have the option to quicken your cantrip and then twin another one. For a measly 3 sorcery points, you're getting three cantrips cast in a round. Not too shabby when you've got a load of spell slots that you may not be planning to use.
Well, yeah, that is true as well, because you could, and if you look at a spell like Firebolt, right? You can twin Firebolt, and you could be doing 3 die 10 or 4 die 10 per attack,
and do a quick Eldritch Blast, and pepper out an army.
Yes, so So you can basically lay down a lot of smack and get a lot of control for your bang.
So now with those 17 levels of sorcerer, we do have, you know, 2 other meta magic options, and for this we're choosing distant and empower. You know, it's going to allow us to raise up the minimums if we empower, and it's going to allow us to get further away. And anytime you're talking about controlling, the further away that you can affect your targets, the more control you have.
And remember too, that's going to stack with spell sniper as well. So you're going to double the range again, and also you're also going to not suffer the effects of, you know, half cover and 3/4 cover. Anything under full, you get to ignore. So that's also going to be useful as well. Like with this kind of build, yeah, you're going to cast your higher level spells probably as the higher level spells. But when you get to a certain point, like it might actually make more sense to use your second and your first level slots to just pump up your sorcery points, and use them for your cantrips if you've blown through all your higher level spells.
Right. So we did talk about feats, and we mentioned Magic Initiate. Dave did mention Spell Sniper. So all told, this particular build, you get 6 cantrips from Sorcerer, 2 from Warlock, another 3 from Pact of the Tome. You're going to get 2 from Magic Initiate, and you're going to get another 1 from Spell Sniper. That's a total of 14 cantrips that you have to choose from, and it's across 4 or 5 different classes. Pretty nice array, if you ask me, and you've got the ability to do quite a lot without casting a spell using a spell slot.
Yeah, without actually using your real spells. An addendum I would add on is if you just wanted to do something a little bit more interesting than doing more damage with your Warlock Invocation, that second one, you could take Book of Shadows and get all the ritual spells. So you could have a bunch of ritual spells. So this character will never run out of basically attack spells because he's got all the cantrips. You know, there's a couple left over that we're not going to use. So you might take 1 or 2 utility ones. But at the same time, if you take Book of Shadows and you fill it with rituals, then you can also always be able to do the ritual stuff as well. So it would add just another dimension to this character and make it maybe a little bit more interesting, and just instead of just peeling everything. But you know, that being said, there's still a ton of fun things you can do. I love the idea of twinning spells like Lightning Lure or Thorn Whip.
Now, you could, if you didn't want to sacrifice the invocation, you could just take the Ritualist. But the Book of Shadows is actually the most potent of ritual aspects in the game.
Yeah, like in my opinion, you'd be better off just taking Tome of Shadow, because then you can get all ritual spells opposed to just picking a class,
single class, yeah,
and sticking with that.
So, what do you guys think? Does this measure up for character builds? Would you play this in your game? Did we miss something? However you want to continue the conversation, you can do so down in the comments below. While you're down there, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.
You can check us out at nerdarchy.com.
So until next time, stay nerdy.